The rain poured down on the sleepy streets of Chicago that night, washing away the city's noise until only the soft hum of neon lights and the rhythm of falling drops remained. Inside a small, dimly lit cafe tucked between two tall brick buildings, a young waitress named Elena Morris wiped down the same counter for the fifth time, her mind lost in the chaos of unpaid bills, rent notices, and her mother's hospital fees that seemed to multiply every week. Her shoes were soaked from the puddles outside, her apron damp from the rain that had slipped in when she held the door open for a couple minutes earlier. She was 24, exhausted, and barely holding on to hope. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of one good deed to change a life, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Silent Hope. Your support keeps stories of compassion alive. That night, as the clock struck 11:30 p.m., Elena noticed a figure outside, a man in tattered clothes, soaked to the bone, his hands trembling from the cold. He hesitated before stepping in, as if afraid to stain the warmth of the cafe with his presence. The moment he entered, the faint smell of wet cardboard and dirt followed him, turning a few heads. The other customers looked away, clutching their coffee cups a little tighter. But Elena saw something in his eyes that stopped her, not pity, but quiet desperation mixed with dignity. He sat in the corner, his shoulders hunched, staring at the empty table as though debating whether he even belonged there. Elena approached, her voice soft but warm. "What can I get you, sir?" she asked, though she could already guess he couldn't afford much. He looked up, startled, and whispered, "Just a cup of coffee, please. If that's all right." When she rang up the order, his hands searched his pockets nervously, pulling out a few coins, all wet, and clearly not enough. He looked up, his face red from shame. I'm sorry. I thought I had more," he murmured, beginning to stand. Elena's heart clenched. Without a second thought, she pressed the keys on the register, slid a few dollars from her own tip jar, and said, "It's on the house. Just sit and warm up, okay?" He stared at her for a moment, speechless. "You don't have to do that," he whispered. "I know," she said, smiling faintly. "But I want to." The man's eyes welled up as she placed the steaming cup of coffee before him. He held it like it was treasure, taking small sips, savoring every bit of warmth. That night, Elena didn't just serve coffee, she served dignity. And she didn't know it then, but that small act of kindness would change her life forever. When her shift ended, she walked home through the rain, her umbrella broken, her shoes squelching with every step. Her tiny apartment was cold, the lights flickering. She made herself a cup of instant noodles, looked at the hospital bill pinned to her fridge, and sighed. Her mother's surgery had been postponed again, not enough payment made. Elena was working double shifts, saving every tip, and still falling short. Yet, despite her own pain, she couldn't forget the man's face, that quiet gratitude, that small smile of relief. The next morning, the cafe buzzed with the usual morning rush, businessmen on their phones, college students with laptops, the clinking of mugs and hiss of espresso machines. Elena was wiping down a table when she noticed a sleek black car pull up outside. A man in a tailored navy blue suit stepped out, holding a briefcase. His shoes gleamed, and his expression carried the quiet confidence of someone who belonged to a different world entirely. When he entered, everyone turned to look. He moved straight toward Elena. For a second, she froze, his eyes looked familiar, but she couldn't place them. Then he smiled. It was him. The homeless man from last night. Clean-shaven, his hair neat, and his posture tall, but those same eyes, kind, gentle, and full of depth, stared back at her. "Elena," he said softly, his voice now steady and rich. "We didn't get to finish our conversation last night." Her heart skipped. I didn't expect to see you again," she stammered, confused. He chuckled. "I'm not surprised. You see, I wasn't exactly myself last night." He placed his briefcase on the counter and extended his hand. My name is Henry Blake. I own this cafe. The world seemed to stop for a moment. Elena blinked, certain she'd misheard. You own this place? Yes, he said gently. And several others across the city. I was out last night testing something. You could say I wanted to understand what people see when they look at someone who has nothing. He paused, watching her reaction. And you were the only one who saw me as human. Elena's breath caught in her throat. She didn't know what to say. I just thought you needed help, she managed. Henry smiled. And that's exactly what makes you different. He asked her to sit for a moment. She hesitated, she was still on shift, but something about his calm insistence made her stay. Henry explained that years ago, he'd been homeless too, sleeping under bridges and struggling to find food. A stranger once paid for his meal and told him, when you can, pass it on. That moment had changed his life. He'd built his business with hard work, but he'd never forgotten what it felt like to be invisible. So last night, he continued, I wanted to see if kindness still exists in the world. And I found it in you. Tears pricked Elena's eyes. She looked down, embarrassed. You don't have to thank me, she whispered. He shook his head. I didn't come to thank you. I came to make you an offer. He opened his briefcase, revealing an envelope. Inside was a check, with more zeros than Elena had ever seen. This is to cover your mother's medical bills, he said. And I'd like to offer you a full scholarship program that my foundation sponsors, hospitality management. You deserve more than waiting tables. Elena's hands trembled as she held the check. I can't accept this, she said in disbelief. You already earned it, Henry replied gently. Sometimes, kindness finds its way back, just not in the way we expect. That night, Elena went to the hospital. Her mother was sitting up, pale but smiling weakly. When Elena told her what had happened, tears streamed down her mother's face. I told you, her mother said softly. When you give with your heart, the world gives back. In the days that followed, Henry's story, and Elena's, spread across social media. The cafe became a symbol of hope. People came not just for coffee, but to be part of something good. A framed picture hung near the counter, a candid shot of Elena handing a cup of coffee to Henry when he was still in rags. Beneath it, in bold letters, it read, Kindness costs nothing, but changes everything. Months later, Elena stood on a small stage in front of a group of young baristas at a training program funded by Henry's foundation. She wore a clean white blazer, her hair tied neatly, her voice filled with quiet confidence. I used to think life was about surviving, she told them. But one night, I learned that it's about believing that one small act of kindness can change someone's entire world. The audience applauded, and Henry, sitting in the front row, smiled proudly. When the event ended, he approached her and said, You've come a long way, Elena. She smiled back, tears glistening in her eyes. Because someone believed in me. He shook his head. No. Because you believed in good, even when life gave you every reason not to. Elena laughed softly. Then I guess we both passed it on. As the lights dimmed and the last guests left, Elena stood by the cafe window, watching the city glow. The rain had started again, gentle, rhythmic, cleansing. She saw a man outside, shivering beneath a thin jacket, peering into the cafe's warmth. Without hesitation, she opened the door, smiled, and said, Come in. You look like you could use a warm cup of coffee. And in that moment, life came full circle. Kindness had not ended, only continued. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Silent Hope. Every story you support spreads one more spark of goodness in a world that needs it. Speech balloon special request, comment below what kindness means to you. Sometimes, your words might just inspire someone who needs them the most. That night, As the cafe lights glowed against the rain, and the aroma of coffee wrapped around the air, it wasn't just another evening in Chicago. It was proof that hope, when given freely, never disappears. It finds its way back, just like a warm cup of coffee on a cold night.